I've made a lot of bad decisions in my 26 years. Dropping out of Juilliard Dance Academy to pay my mom's medical bills. Trading ballet for pole dancing in the French Quarter. Taking a job at Obsidian where I danced for men who never looked at my face. But the worst decision, that happened at 1:47 a.m. on a Saturday. I was spinning on that VIP stage when I heard it. A woman crying, begging. Then flesh hitting flesh. I stopped mid-spin. Saw him through the strobe lights. Enzo Romano, the man who owned this city, this club, and every soul in it, saw her, bleeding, broken. Every bouncer, bartender, and dancer in that room, frozen. Not me. I climbed down from that stage in my 6-inch heels and walked straight toward the devil himself. My name is Scarlet Quinn, and I just signed my death warrant. The room exploded. Not with sound. With silence. The kind of silence that comes right before someone dies. Enzo Romano's hand froze midair. His eyes locked on me. Dark. Cold. Calculating. I'd just done the unthinkable. I'd stepped between a king and his prey. What did you just say? His voice was quiet. Deadly quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your survival instincts scream. I swallowed. My legs were shaking, but I didn't move. Couldn't move. Because behind me, that woman was still on the floor. Still bleeding. Still terrified. I said stop. My voice came out steadier than I felt. You're hurting her. Someone in the crowd gasped. A bouncer took a step forward, then stopped. Everyone was waiting. Watching. Holding their breath. Enzo tilted his head. Studied me like I was an insect he was deciding whether to crush or ignore. Do you know who I am? I didn't. Not really. But I knew enough. The VIP section. The fear in everyone's eyes. The way the entire club operated around his presence, like gravity around a black hole. I know you're hitting a woman half your size. I lifted my chin. That makes you a coward. The room went from silent to frozen. He smiled. Not warmly. Not kindly. The smile of a predator who just found something interesting to play with before the kill. You're brave. He stepped toward me. Close. Too close. I could smell his cologne. Expensive. Suffocating. Or incredibly stupid. Maybe both. His hand shot out. Grabbed my wrist. Not hard enough to hurt. Yet. But hard enough to remind me that he could. That he owned this space. That I was nothing. You just made a very big mistake, little dancer. That's when I heard it. A voice from behind him. Calm. Urgent. Enzo. A man stepped forward from the shadows of the VIP section. Tall. Dark hair. Scar above his left eyebrow. He wore the same expensive suit as the others. But something in his eyes was different. Worried. Not here, the man said quietly. Too many witnesses. Enzo's grip tightened on my wrist. For a second I thought he'd ignore his man completely. Thought he'd drag me out of that club and I'd never be seen again. But then he released me. Stepped back. You're right, Marco. Enzo's smile never left his face. Not here. He looked at me one last time. But soon, then he was gone. His entourage followed. The woman on the floor scrambled to her feet and disappeared into the crowd. The music started again. People pretended nothing had happened. But something had happened. I challenged Enzo Romano, and the man named Marco had just saved my life. I didn't know it yet, but that was the first mistake that would change everything. I stood there, alone, in the middle of that dance floor. Everyone staring, whispering, pointing. The woman I'd tried to save was gone, vanished into the crowd, like she'd never existed. The security guards were watching me like wolves, circling prey. And somewhere in that VIP section, Enzo Romano was planning exactly how he'd make me disappear. I needed to leave. Now, I pushed through the crowd toward the employee exit. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip my locker key. I changed out of my costume in record time. Jeans, hoodie, sneakers. The fastest I'd ever moved in my life. The back hallway was empty. Just fluorescent lights buzzing and the distant thump of bass from the main floor. I was 10 feet from the exit when I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy. Deliberate. Multiple sets. Miss Quinn. I froze. Turned slowly. 3 men in suits. Arms crossed. Blocking the hallway. The one in front smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Mr. Romano would like a word. My heart stopped. I'm leaving. No. He stepped forward. You're not. That's when another voice cut through the tension. Let her go. Marco. The man who'd stopped Enzo earlier. He appeared from a side door, his expression unreadable. The three men turned to him, confused. Marco. Boss said. I said let her go. His voice was quiet, but absolute. Now, they hesitated. Marco didn't. He grabbed my arm, not roughly, urgently, and pulled me toward the exit. Move. Fast. Don't look back. We burst through the door into the alley. Cold air hit my face. My legs were moving before my brain caught up. Why are you helping me? I gasped as we ran. Because you're about to die if you don't run. He pulled me left, away from the main street. And I can't let that happen. Why not? He didn't answer. Just kept pulling me through the maze of back alleys. Behind us, I heard shouting, doors slamming, engines starting. They're coming, Marco said. Enzo doesn't let anyone disrespect him. Ever. I didn't. I was just trying to help. I know. He stopped at a black motorcycle parked in the shadows. Threw me a helmet. Put this on. I'm not getting on. You have two choices. His eyes locked on mine. Dark. Intense. Scared. Come with me. Or stay, and let Enzo's men find you. Choose. Now. The sound of car engines grew louder. Closer. I grabbed the helmet. Marco started the bike. I climbed on behind him, my arms wrapping around his waist. The engine roared to life. Hold tight. We shot forward, out of the alley, into the street. Behind us, headlights flooded the darkness. Not one car, not two, 6 black SUVs, all following us. Oh my God, I whispered. That's just the first wave, Marco shouted over the wind. He's sending everyone. How many people does he have? In this city? Over 200 men. He swerved left, cutting through traffic. And every single one of them will be looking for you by morning. 200 men. For me. For one stupid, brave, idiotic decision to stand up to a monster. The SUVs were gaining. Marco pushed the bike faster. We weaved through streets, cut through alleys, jumped a curb. My heart was in my throat. My arms locked around him like he was the only thing keeping me alive. Because he was. Where are we going? I yelled. Somewhere he can't follow. Marco took a sharp right. Somewhere he doesn't control. Does that place even exist? We're about to find out. One of the SUVs pulled alongside us. The window rolled down. A man leaned out with a gun. Down. Marco yanked the bike right. The shot went wide. We careened into a narrow side street, too tight for the SUVs to follow, but I could still hear them. Circling. Hunting. Marco finally stopped the bike behind an abandoned warehouse. Killed the engine. In the silence, I could hear my own ragged breathing. You okay? He asked. No. I pulled off the helmet. My hands were shaking. What the hell just happened? You challenged Enzo Romano in his own club. Marco turned to face me. You made him look weak in front of his people. And now you're the most wanted woman in New Orleans. I didn't mean to. Doesn't matter. He looked at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. You can't go home. You can't go to work. You can't go anywhere. Enzo has eyes, and he has eyes everywhere. Then what do I do? Marco was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed, like he was making a decision that would destroy him. You come with me. With you. I have a place. Off the grid. Enzo doesn't know about it. He met my eyes. But if I do this, if I hide you, there's no going back. I'm betraying him, and he'll kill me for it. Then why? Because what you did back there. He shook his head. That was either the bravest or the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I need to know which. He held out his hand. So what's it going to be, Scarlet Quinn? Trust a stranger? Or take your chances with 200 men who want you dead? I looked at his hand, looked back toward the sound of engines still searching, and I took it. The safe house wasn't what I expected. No warehouse. No underground bunker. Just a shotgun house in Bywater. Narrow. Pastel yellow paint peeling near the porch. Wrought iron bars on the windows. The kind of place tourists walked past without a second glance. Marco unlocked the door. 3 deadbolts. Chain lock. Security bar. Inside smelled like chicory coffee and old wood. Hardwood floors worn smooth. High ceilings. A railroad layout, kitchen in back, living room in front, bedrooms somewhere between. You'll be safe here, he said, locking everything behind us. Safe from your boss, from Enzo. Yes. Who is he really? I asked. You called him Enzo Romano at the club, but I've never heard that name. Marco went to the kitchen, pulled out a bottle of water from an ancient fridge, drank half before answering. That's because he's careful. The feds know him as Enzo Rossi. The Russians know him as Enzo Marino. He has 6 different names, 6 different social security numbers, 3 different passports. And you work for him? Worked. Past tense. I leaned against the doorframe. My legs were shaking. Adrenaline crash hitting hard. Outside, a streetcar bell clanged in the distance. What does he do? Besides beat women in VIP rooms. Marco's jaw tightened. That woman was his wife, ex-wife. She took something from him. Money. A lot of it. He wanted it back. So he beats her. I'm not defending him. Marco set the bottle down on the chipped Formica counter. I'm explaining him. There's a difference. What else does he do? Silence. Marco. I need to know what I'm running from. He looked at me. Really looked. Like he was deciding something. Everything. Drugs. Weapons. Protection. Rackets. Money laundering through the club. And 3 restaurants in the quarter. Human trafficking through the port of New Orleans. My stomach turned. You knew all of this. And you still worked for him. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Not when you're 14 years old and he finds you stealing from his car. Marco's voice went flat. Not when he says work for me or I'll kill your little sister. Something in my chest tightened. He threatened a child. He owned me. Since I was 14. 21 years of doing exactly what he says. Exactly when he says it. First in New York. Then when he expanded here 5 years ago, I came with him. I pushed off the doorframe. Walked closer to him. Through the window, I could see a neighbor's Christmas lights. Still up in October. Then why save me? Why risk everything for a stranger? Marco turned away. Stared out at the narrow backyard. Overgrown grass. Banana trees. A rusted barbecue pit. Because I'm tired. Tired of watching him hurt people. Tired of being the one who cleans up after. Tired of... He stopped. You stood up to him. Right to his face. You didn't care that he could kill you. You just saw someone who needed help, and you helped. That's not special. It is when you've spent 2 decades watching everyone look the other way. I wanted to touch him. Comfort him. But something told me Marco Salvatore didn't accept comfort easily. What happens now? I asked. Now? He faced me again. Now we wait. He'll send people looking. He always does. But he won't expect me to betray him. That buys us maybe 12 hours. And then? Then we run. Far. Texas, maybe. Or California. Different state. Different name. You'll have to leave everything behind. Your apartment. Your job. Your friends. Everything. I'm not running. Marco stared at me. Excuse me? I didn't do anything wrong. She needed help. I helped. I'm not hiding for that. Scarlett, this isn't a choice. If you stay, he will find you. And when he finds you, let him find me. Are you insane? Are you? I stepped closer. You just threw away 21 years of your life to save me. And now you want me to run? To hide? To let him win? This isn't about winning. This is about survival. For you, maybe. For me, this is about not living in fear. Marco's hands clenched into fists. You don't understand what he's capable of. Then explain it to me. I just did. No. You told me facts. Tell me what he'll actually do. To me. Specifically. Silence. Somewhere outside, someone was playing trumpet. Blues. Slow and mournful. Marco. He'll make you disappear. His voice went cold. Slow. Painful. He'll hurt everyone you've ever cared about first. Make you watch. Then he'll take weeks with you. And when he's done, they'll find you in the bayou. If they find you at all. My hands started shaking. I hated that they shook. Hated that fear was visible. And you lived with this man for 21 years. I survived with him. By being his dog. Marco moved fast. 1 second he was across the narrow room. The next, He had me backed against the wall. Not threatening, not violent, just close. Too close. Don't. His voice was low, dangerous. Don't you dare judge me for surviving. I'm not judging survival. I'm judging compliance. You think you would have done better? A 14-year-old kid with a sister to protect? I think you're still protecting her. Still letting him control you through fear. And you're acting brave because you have nothing to lose. The words hit like a slap. Because he was right. I didn't have family, didn't have close friends. My life was work, and the club, and going home alone every night to a studio apartment in mid-city. If I disappeared, maybe 3 people would notice. You're right, I said quietly. I have nothing to lose. But you do. You have a sister. You have a life you could build without him. And instead, you're here, with me, running. I'm here because why? Why throw everything away for me? Marco's hands came up, framed my face. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Because when I looked at you standing up to him, I saw something I haven't seen in 21 years. What? Hope. The word hung between us. His eyes dropped to my mouth. My breath caught. Then his phone rang. He pulled back, looked at the screen, went pale. It's him. Don't answer. If I don't, he'll know something's wrong. Marco answered. Put it on speaker. Enzo's voice filled the shotgun house. Smooth, calm, terrifying in its casualness. Marco, where's the girl? What girl? Don't insult me. The little hero who thinks she can put her hands on my wife. Where is she? I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because I have security footage of you leaving with her. I have traffic cameras showing your car heading toward the 9th Ward. And I have your sister's address in Metairie in my hand right now. Marco's expression went dead. Don't what, Marco? Don't protect my interests? Don't remind you who you work for? A pause. Bring me the girl. Tonight. Or I start with your sister's hands. 1 finger every hour you make me wait. The line went dead. Marco stood frozen. Phone still in his hand. I pushed off the wall. We're not giving him what he wants. Your sister is safe if we move fast. Where is she? Metairie. Near Lakeside Mall. She has a security system, but not enough for Enzo. I grabbed my jacket. Then we get to her first. Scarlett, this is suicide. No. I looked at him. Through the window, the neighbor's wind chimes sang. This is fighting back. You've been surviving for 21 years. Maybe it's time to live. Marco stared at me. For 3 seconds that felt like hours. Then he grabbed his keys. If we do this, we do it my way. No heroes. No standing up to him. We get my sister and we run. All 3 of us. Understand? I understand you're still afraid of him. I'm afraid of losing her. Then let's make sure you don't. We left the shotgun house together. The streetcar rolled past on St. Claude Avenue. Neither of us mentioned that we were probably walking straight into a trap. Marco drove like someone who knew every back street in New Orleans. We didn't take I-10. Didn't take the causeway. Instead, we wound through Gentilly, past shuttered houses, and corner stores with bars on the windows. Neighborhoods tourists never saw. How far is Metairie? I asked. 20 minutes if we're lucky. 10 if we're not. That doesn't make sense. Luck means no roadblocks. No luck means Enzo's men are already in position, and we drive straight into them. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I showed Marco the screen. Don't answer it, he said. It rang again, and again, on the 4th call. I answered. Hello? Enzo's voice, smooth as expensive whiskey. Scarlett. That is your name. Yes. The brave little dancer who thinks she can save the world. Marco's hands tightened on the wheel. What do you want? I asked. I want you to understand something. Marco belongs to me. His sister belongs to me. You? You're a complication. Complications get resolved. Is that a threat? It's a courtesy. I'm giving you a choice most people don't get. Which is, walk away. Tonight. Leave New Orleans. Go back to wherever you came from. Forget Marco. Forget my wife. Forget you ever set foot in my club. And if I don't, then you become part of my collection. I have a warehouse on the river. Very private. Very soundproof. Women who displease me tend to stay there for a while. Some for weeks. The longest was 4 months. She still had a pulse when we finally dumped her in the bayou. My stomach turned, but I kept my voice steady. You don't scare me. Enzo laughed, low, dark, genuinely amused. Oh, Scarlett, everyone says that, until they see what I'm capable of. But you're different, aren't you? You actually believe it. A pause. Marco, I know you're listening. Bring her to the club. Midnight. Or I start with your sister's fingers, then her toes, then things that don't grow back. The line went dead. Marco pulled over, parked in front of an abandoned shotgun house, with weeds growing through the porch. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. We can still run, I said. No, we can't. Yes, we. He has my sister. Marco turned to face me, eyes wild. Do you understand? She's 23 years old. She works at a fucking Target. She doesn't know anything about what I do, what he does. She's innocent. So we get her, and then we run. She has a boyfriend, parents of the boyfriend, friends, a life. You think Enzo won't use all of them? Every single person she cares about becomes leverage. Then what do we do? Marco looked at me. Really looked. I give you to him. The words hung in the humid New Orleans air. I stared at him. Excuse me? I give you to him. He gets what he wants. My sister stays safe. You. He stopped. You won't survive. But at least it'll be quick. He's angry now, but he's not creative when he's angry. He'll just kill you. Just. As opposed to what he'll do if I keep running with you. Then he'll take his time. Make it last. Use you to hurt me. It'll be worse. Much worse. Something cold settled in my chest. So that's your plan? Trade me for your sister's safety? It's the only plan that works. It's a coward's plan. Marco's jaw clenched. I'm trying to save her life by ending mine. You knew the risk when you put your hands on his wife. I saved her from being beaten to death. And now you'll die for it. That's how this works. That's how it's always worked. You don't fuck with men like Enzo Romano and expect to walk away. I opened the car door. Where are you going? Marco asked. Anywhere but here. With anyone but you. I got out. Started walking. Marco jumped out. Followed me. Grabbed my arm. Don't touch me, Scarlett. Listen. I spun on him. Shoved him back. No. You listen. For 21 years, you've been his dog. You told me that yourself. And now? The first time you have a chance to be something else? To actually stand up to him? You want to hand me over like a fucking sacrifice. I'm protecting my sister. You're protecting yourself from having to actually fight. From having to risk something that matters to you. She's what matters to me. Then prove it. Don't give me to him, fight with me. Help me take him down. Marco laughed. Bitter. Hollow. Take him down? Do you have any idea what you're saying? I'm saying we stop running. And do what? Call the cops? He owns half the NOPD. The feds? They've been trying to touch him for 15 years. Can't make anything stick. His lawyers are better. His reach is longer. So we do it ourselves. You're insane. I'm tired of being afraid. You should be afraid. Fear keeps you alive. No. I stepped closer. Fear keeps you compliant. There's a difference. A car drove past. Music thumping. Mardi Gras beads hanging from the rearview mirror. Even if I wanted to help you, Marco said quietly, I wouldn't know how. I'm his enforcer. I follow orders. I don't make strategies. I don't plan wars. I'm the weapon, not the general. Then I'll be the general. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. Listen to me, I said. Enzo thinks you're weak. He thinks threatening your sister is enough to control you forever. But what if it's not? What if we save her and destroy him? You're talking about killing him. I'm talking about exposing him, his businesses, his connections. Every dirty secret he has. He'll see it coming. Not if we have someone inside. Marco went still. No, you said it yourself. You know everything. His operations, his warehouse, his security protocols. You're the perfect insider. He'll kill me the second he suspects. He already suspects. That phone call. He knows you betrayed him. You're dead either way unless we finish this. A mosquito buzzed between us. The streetlight flickered. This is suicide, Marco said. Staying with him is suicide. Running is suicide. This, I gestured between us. This is the only option where we might actually survive. And your sister? We move her first. Tonight. Before midnight. We get her somewhere safe. Somewhere even Enzo can't reach. There's nowhere he can't reach. Then we make one. Marco ran his hands through his hair. Paced 3 steps. Turned back. If we do this, if we do it my way. I call the shots. I know his operation. His patterns. His weaknesses. You follow my lead. No heroics. No improvising. Understood? Understood. And if it goes wrong, if we're about to get caught, you run. You don't wait for me. You don't try to save me. You run and you don't stop until you're out of Louisiana. Deal? That's not. Deal. I looked at him. Saw the fear. The desperation. 21 years of survival instincts screaming at him to give me up. To protect his sister the only way he knew how. But he was still here. Still trying. Deal. Marco pulled out his phone. Made a call. Tony. It's Marco. I need an emergency extraction. Yeah, I know what time it is. Materi. Isabella Salvatore. 23. Target employee. No, Enzo doesn't know yet. That's why it's an emergency. I don't care what it costs. Houston. Safe House 7. Yeah, I'm sure. Do it now. Text me when she's secure. He hung up. Who's Tony? I asked. Someone who owes me more favors than he can count. He'll get her out. Can you trust him? No. But he's afraid of me more than he's afraid of Enzo. That'll have to be enough. We got back in the car. Drove in silence for 5 minutes. So what now? I asked. Now we wait for Tony's confirmation. Then we go somewhere. Enzo won't think to look. Where's that? The Quarter. Right in the middle of tourist season. Bourbon Street. Loud, crowded. Hundreds of witnesses. He can't make a move there without attracting attention. Won't he expect that? He'll expect us to hide. To run. He won't expect us to walk right into the chaos. We drove past Jackson Square. Past street performers and palm readers and drunk bachelorette parties. Stumbling between bars. Marco's phone buzzed. He read the text. Exhaled. She's safe. Tony's driver picked her up from the Target parking lot. She thinks it's a security upgrade. Doesn't know anything's wrong. Good. For now. He glanced at me. You know this is insane, right? What we're about to do. I know. And you're still in? I'm still in. Why? The question caught me off guard. Because that woman he was beating. I saw her eyes. She'd given up. Accepted it. And I paused. I thought if I could just do something. Just once. Stand up. Maybe it would matter. It mattered, Marco said quietly. You just didn't know it would matter this much. He pulled into a parking garage, off Iberville Street. Old, concrete. The kind where you couldn't tell what floor you were on. We stay here tonight, he said. I have a storage unit on the 3rd level. There's a cot. Some supplies. Not comfortable, but safe. Storage unit. Backup plan. I've been preparing to run for 3 years. Just never had the guts to actually do it. We took the stairs. Found unit 317. Marco unlocked it. Inside, a cot. Bottled water. Granola bars. 2 burner phones. And a handgun. Home sweet home, he said without humor. I sat on the cot. Springs creaked. Tomorrow? I asked. Tomorrow we start gathering evidence. Bank records. Security footage. Client lists. Everything. And then we burn his empire to the ground. Simple. Simple. Marco agreed. Then added, except for the part where he's going to try to kill us. Minor detail. For the first time since we'd fled the club. Marco almost smiled. You're either very brave or very stupid. Can't it be both? In my experience. Usually is. I stayed 3 days in a storage unit. 3 days of bottled water and protein bars. 3 days of taking turns sleeping on a cot that smelled like Maldu. 3 days of planning revenge against a man who could kill us with a phone call. Marco went out twice a day. Once at dawn. Once at dusk. Always different routes. Always checking for tails. He came back with supplies. Food. Burner phones. Cash and small bills. And information. Enzo's looking for us, he said on day 2. But he's being careful. No public moves. No obvious searches. He thinks we left the city. Why? Because that's what smart people would do. We're not smart people. No, we're suicidal people. There's a difference. I almost laughed. By day 3, we'd settled into a rhythm. Marco would go out before sunrise. I'd stay in the unit, practice what I'd say if someone found me. Practice not panicking. When he came back, we'd go over what he'd learned. Bank account numbers, shell company names, properties Enzo owned under different LLCs. Marco had been keeping notes for years. In his head, every transaction, every deal, every body buried. You memorized all this? I asked. Survival skill. Can't write things down. Can't leave evidence. So I remember. That's impressive. That's paranoia. It was different when he talked about Enzo's organization. Focused. Precise. Like he'd flipped a switch. This was the Marco who'd survived 21 years in hell. On the 4th night, I woke up screaming. Nightmare. Enzo. The warehouse he'd mentioned. My hands covered in blood. Marco was there instantly. Gun drawn, scanning the unit. It's okay, I said. Just a dream. He lowered the gun. Didn't put it away. You scared the shit out of me. Sorry. He sat on the edge of the cot. The concrete floor was cold. The single bare bulb cast harsh shadows. What was it about? He asked. Nothing. Scarlet. I said it was nothing. You were screaming my name. I pulled my knees to my chest. In the dream Enzo had you, was hurting you, making me watch, and I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. Marco was quiet for a long moment. It's not your job to save me. I know that. Do you? I looked at him. What's that supposed to mean? It means you've been trying to save people your whole life. Your mom, when your dad left. Your friends, when they made bad choices. That woman at the club. Me. But you can't save everyone. I'm not trying to save you. Yes, you are. That's why you're still here. That's why you agreed to this insane plan. Not because you want revenge. Because you think I need you. Heat flushed my face. You don't know me. I know you better than you think. 4 days doesn't make you an expert on my psychology. 4 days of watching you pretend you're fearless when you're terrified. 4 days of you asking me if I'm okay every 2 hours. 4 days of you trying to fix something that can't be fixed. I stood up, paced the narrow unit. 7 steps. Turn. 7 steps back. This was a mistake. What was this? Us. Thinking we could take down Enzo. I should leave. Tonight. Let you handle it your way. You'd be dead before you reached the Mississippi. Maybe. But at least I wouldn't be stuck in a concrete box with someone psychoanalyzing me. Marco stood. Blocked the door. You're not leaving. You can't stop me. Yes. I can. By what? Locking me in? If I have to. Something snapped. I shoved him. Hard. He didn't budge. Move. No. Marco. I swear to God. What? You'll fight me? Go ahead, hit me. Get it out of your system. But you're not walking out that door. I shoved him again. This time he grabbed my wrists. Let go. Not until you calm down. I am calm. You're spiraling. I've seen it before. People realize what they're up against. Reality hits. They panic. Try to run. And then Enzo finds them. I'm not running. Then what are you doing? I stopped. Breathed. I don't know. My voice broke. Marco's grip softened. Hey, look at me. I did. His eyes were dark. Tired, but steady. You're scared, he said quietly. That's okay. I'm scared too. But we're not doing this alone anymore. You understand? We're in this together now. Both of us. No running. No giving up. You said I could leave if it went wrong. You lied. You lied? Yeah. 'Cause if this goes wrong, if Enzo catches us, I need you there. Not because you're strong. Not because you're brave. Because I can't do this without you. The air between us changed. His hands were still on my wrist. Gentle now. Not restraining. Just holding. Marco. I mean it. 4 days ago, I was ready to die. Give you up. Save my sister. Accept that this was how my life ended. And then you said, let's fight him together. And he stopped. You what? I believed you. For the first time in 21 years, I believed someone when they said we could win. My heart was hammering. I was acutely aware of how close we were, how his thumb was tracing circles on my inner wrist, how I could feel his breath. You barely know me, I whispered. I know enough. You don't even know my last name. Quinn. I blinked. How? I know everything, remember? He smiled slightly. Scarlett Ann Quinn, 26. Born in Shreveport. Moved to New Orleans 3 years ago. Works at Club Obsidian 5 nights a week. Lives alone in a studio on Carondelet Street. No family. No pets. Orders Thai food every Wednesday. That's creepy. That's due diligence. When did you? Day 1. While you slept. I needed to know who I was protecting. And you're exactly who I thought you were. Which is reckless, stubborn, completely insane. He paused. And the only person I've ever met who makes me want to be brave. I stopped breathing. His face was inches from mine. Marco. Yeah? If you're going to kiss me, do it now. Before I talk myself out of letting you. He kissed me. Not gentle. Not tentative. Desperate. Like he'd been drowning. And I was air. His hands moved from my wrists to my face. My hands found his shirt, fisted in the fabric. The storage unit disappeared. The concrete. The bare bulb. The danger waiting outside. There was only this. Him. Me. 4 days of tension breaking. He backed me against the wall. My head hit concrete. Didn't care. His mouth moved to my neck. I gasped. Tell me to stop. He breathed against my skin. Don't stop. Scarlett, we can't. Yes, we can't. This is a bad idea. Everything we're doing is a bad idea. He pulled back. Looked at me. Eyes dark. Conflicted. If we do this, it changes things. I know. I can't protect you and want you at the same time. I'll make mistakes. I'll let my guard down. I kissed him. Shut him up. Made the decision for both of us. For 30 seconds. We forgot about Enzo. Forgot about the plan. Forgot about survival. Then Marco's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. He pulled away. Checked the screen. His face went white. What? I asked. He turned the phone toward me. A photo. His sister. Isabella. Tied to a chair. Blood on her face. Eyes wide with terror. Below the photo, a text from Enzo. Houston wasn't far enough. I'll trade her life for the dancers. You have 2 hours. Warehouse on Chapatola Street. Come alone, or I start removing pieces. 2 hours wasn't enough time. I knew it the moment Marco said it. We can't get there in 2 hours, I said. Not with traffic, not without being seen. Marco was already moving, grabbing the burner phones. The gun, the cash we had left. Chapatola Street warehouse. I know where it is. 40 minutes if we're fast. And then what? We walk in? He's expecting that. I know. So what's the plan? Marco looked at me. His eyes were different now. Harder. This was the enforcer. The man who'd survived 21 years in Enzo's world. I give him what he wants. No, it's the only way to get Isabella out alive. There has to be another. There isn't. His voice cracked. Raw. He has my sister. He has her and I can't lose her. Not her. I grabbed his arm. We won't. But not like this. Not by surrendering. Then how? My mind raced. 2 hours. A warehouse. Enzo expecting Marco alone. We need backup. From who? Tony won't help again. Everyone else works for Enzo. Not everyone. I pulled out my phone. The one I'd been using before this nightmare started. Found a contact. Who are you calling? Marco asked. Someone who hates Enzo as much as we do. Scarlett. Wait. Too late. The call connected. This is Detective Sarah Chen. Who's this? My name is Scarlett Quinn. I have information about Enzo Romano. And I need help. Now. Silence on the line. Then. Where are you? I told her. The parking garage. The unit number. Don't move. I'm coming with units. She hung up. Marco stared at me. What did you just do? I called the police. You called the police? A detective. Someone who can what? Arrest us both? Get Isabella killed when Enzo finds out cops are involved. She can help. She'll destroy everything. Marco paced. 3 steps. Turn. 3 steps back. Enzo owns half the department. The second Chen makes a move, he'll know, and Isabella dies. Or she's already dead, and he's using her to trap you. The word stopped him cold. Take that back. I can't. Because it's true. Think about it. He found her in Houston, in a safe house Tony arranged. How? How did he know where to look? Marco's face went pale. Tony sold you out. He told Enzo where she was. Which means Enzo has known everything from the beginning. Where we are. What we're planning. All of it. Marco sat down hard on the cot. Put his head in his hands. I trusted him. He was afraid. Fear makes people do terrible things. So what do we do now? We assume Isabella's alive. We assume the trade is real. And we go in smart. Not surrendering. Fighting. Against how many men? However many he brings. Jen can have units surrounding the warehouse. When Enzo shows, they move in. And if Isabella's in the crossfire, then we get her out before the shooting starts. Marco looked up. That's not a plan. That's a prayer. It's all we have. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. 1 hour 50 minutes left. I'm waiting, Marco. And Isabella is getting cold. I had to turn off the heat. Such a shame. She's shivering so much her teeth are chattering. Maybe I should warm her up. I have a blowtorch here. Would that help? Below the text. A new photo. Isabella, zip-tied to a chair, face bruised, crying. Marco made a sound I'd never heard before. Animal. Broken. I'm going, he said. Marco, I'm going alone. Right now. Detective Chen can follow if she wants. But I'm not waiting. That's exactly what he wants. I don't care what he wants. That's my sister. And you're running into a trap. So be it. He grabbed the gun, headed for the door. I blocked him. Move. No. Scarlett, I will move you myself if I have to. Then do it. But you're not going alone. We stared at each other. Both breathing hard. Both terrified. Detective Chen arrived 8 minutes later. She wasn't alone. 5 unmarked cars. 15 officers. All armed. Chen was mid-40s. Short. Compact. The kind of presence that made you pay attention. Scarlett Quinn. That's me. And you're Marco Salvatore. Enzo Romano's enforcer. Not a question. Former enforcer. Marco said. Uh-huh. You have information? We have everything. Bank accounts. Properties. Bodies. All of it. But first, we need to get his sister. I showed Chen the photos. The texts. The deadline. Chen swore. This is a hostage situation. We need SWAT. Negotiators. Time to... We don't have time, Marco interrupted. 1 hour 40 minutes. Then he starts hurting her. Chen looked at me. Then at Marco. Making a calculation. If I help you, I need everything. Every piece of evidence. Every name. Every location. You hold back. I arrest you both. Clear? Clear. I said. Marco? He nodded. Good. Let's move. 32 minutes to reach the warehouse. Chen drove. Marco in passenger seat. Me in back. 3 unmarked cars followed. Keeping distance. Not obvious. The warehouse was on Chupitulis, near the river. Industrial district. Abandoned at night. Perfect for what Enzo planned. Chen parked 3 blocks away. Tactical assessment, she said into her radio. 7 entrances, all covered. Snipers on rooftops. No one moves until my signal. What's the signal? I asked. Gunfire. Not comforting. Marco checked his gun. 9 rounds, 1 extra magazine. Not enough if things went bad. I'm going in, he said. Not alone, Chen replied. I'm sending Officer Torres with you. Undercover. He'll be... No, Enzo said. Come alone. I come alone. Or Isabella dies. You walk in there solo. You die. Maybe. But she lives. Chen didn't like it. I could see her calculating. Odds. Outcomes. Acceptable losses. 5 minutes. She finally said. You get 5 minutes inside before we breach. If shooting starts before then, we come immediately. Fine. Marco looked at me. Stay here. No. Scarlett, you said we're in this together. That means together. I'm coming. He'll kill you. Let him try. We approached the warehouse at exactly 10:47 p.m., 13 minutes before deadline. The building was dark, no lights, no vehicles visible, too quiet. Marco's hand went to his gun. Something's wrong. What? No guards, no cars, nothing. He should have an army here. Maybe they're inside. Or maybe this isn't where Isabella is. My stomach dropped. You think it's a trap? I think everything with Enzo is a trap. The warehouse door was unlocked. We pushed inside. Darkness. Then a single light clicked on. Spotlight. Center of the empty warehouse. Isabella stood in the light. Bound. Gagged. Crying. Alive. Marco moved forward. Stop. Enzo's voice. Echoing. Everywhere and nowhere. Not another step, Marco, or I detonate the vest she's wearing. My eyes adjusted to the dark. Isabella wasn't just tied. She was wired. Explosives wrapped around her torso. Red digital timer counting down. 0004, 4 minutes 27 seconds. Let her go, Marco said. I will. After we talk. About what? Your betrayal. Your whore. Your pathetic attempt to destroy me. Enzo stepped into the light. He looked exactly as I remembered. Elegant. Composed. Terrifying in his calmness. You brought the police, Marco. Very disappointing. I taught you better. How did you? Detective Chen's car. You think I don't have tracking on every law enforcement vehicle in New Orleans? Enzo smiled. They're parked 3 blocks away, waiting for your signal. It won't come. The final betrayal. Enzo gestured to the shadows. 20 men stepped into view, armed, surrounding us. Drop your weapon. Marco hesitated. The timer hit 003. Drop it or she goes first. Marco set the gun on the ground. Enzo kicked it away. Now, the dancer. Scarlett, was it? He looked at me. You're the reason for all this trouble. One simple mistake. Wrong number. Wrong man. And now look. 21 years of loyalty destroyed because Marco developed feelings. It wasn't a mistake, I said. I meant to text someone powerful enough to help. I just didn't know it would be you. Flattering, but pointless. Marco, you have a choice. Same choice I gave you on the phone. Isabella, or your whore. Pick. Marco looked at his sister. At the timer. 0000000. Then at me. I'm sorry, he whispered. My heart stopped. Marco, don't. He looked at Enzo. Take her. Let Isabella go. Marco, no. Excellent choice, Enzo said. I knew you'd. Gunfire exploded through the warehouse. Not from Enzo's men, from the rafters. Detective Chen's snipers. Chaos erupted. Enzo's men scattered, returned fire. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness. Marco dove for his gun. I ran toward Isabella. The timer hit 001. Enzo grabbed me, gun to my head. Everyone stop, or she dies. The shooting ceased. Enzo dragged me backward, using me as a shield. Marco, I screamed. He looked at me, gun raised, torn between me and his sister. Enzo laughed. 45 seconds, Marco. You can save one. Choose the sister you've protected for 21 years, or the stranger you've known for 1 week. Marco's gun wavered, aimed at me, at Enzo, behind me. No clean shot. 30 seconds. I'm sorry, Marco said again. He lowered the gun, aimed at Isabella's vest. No, I screamed. If I can't save both, I save neither, he said. Enzo dies with us. He fired. Not at the vest. At the wire. The timer stopped at 00017. Enzo's grip loosened. Just for a second, I drove my elbow into his ribs. Broke free. Chen's snipers fired. Enzo went down. The warehouse. Filled with SWAT. Paramedics. Isabella was rushed out. Alive. Barely. Enzo was on the ground. Bleeding. Not dead. Not yet. Chen cuffed Marco. Wait. I started. He's Enzo's enforcer. Accomplice to 21 years of crimes. He's under arrest. He saved us. He broke the law. That's how this works. Marco didn't fight. Didn't resist. He looked at me as they led him away. It was worth it, he said. Knowing you. Then he was gone. I stood in the warehouse. Enzo bleeding out 20 feet away. Police everywhere. And I realized we'd won. But I'd lost him anyway. I sat in Detective Chen's office for 3 hours, gave my statement, signed documents, watched through the one-way glass as they questioned Enzo. He didn't talk, just smiled, like this was all part of some bigger plan. Chen came out at 1 a.m. We're charging him with kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. He'll never see daylight again. And Marco? Accessory to 21 years of crimes. He's cooperating, but she shook her head. He's looking at 15 years minimum. My stomach dropped. He saved us. He also broke the law. For 2 decades. There are consequences. Can I see him? Not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. If his lawyer approved. I left the station at 2 a.m., walked back to my studio apartment in mid-city, the one I'd barely lived in, the one that felt emptier than ever. I sat on my bed, stared at the wall, and felt nothing. Not relief that Enzo was arrested, not fear that Marco was in jail. Just hollow. One day after I called in sick to the club, first time in 3 years, stayed in bed, didn't eat, didn't shower, just stared at the ceiling and replayed everything. The warehouse. The timer. Marco's gun pointed at his sister's vest. His face. When they cuffed him. It was worth it. Knowing you. What the hell did that even mean? Next day, Chen called. Marco's lawyer okay to visit. Tomorrow. Noon. Orleans Parish Prison. You'll have 20 minutes. Okay. Scarlett? He's in bad shape. Protective custody because of who he was. Other inmates would love to get their hands on Enzo's former enforcer. He's isolated. Alone. Story of his life. I hung up. Then immediately regretted how cold that sounded. I went to the gym that night. Punched the heavy bag until my knuckles bled. A guy tried to correct my form. You're gonna hurt yourself if you don't. Mind your own fucking business. He backed away. I kept punching. Harder. Faster. Until my hands were too damaged to continue. I was turning into the thing I hated. Aggressive. Violent. Lashing out. But I couldn't stop. Day 3 was the night before I was supposed to visit Marco. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror. Looked at myself. Really looked. My knuckles were bandaged. My eyes had dark circles. I'd lost weight. I didn't have to lose. I looked like someone running from something. Running from what? The answer hit me hard. Running from feeling powerless. My whole life, I'd fought, pushed back, refused to be controlled. But Marco wasn't trying to control me. He was trying to protect me, and I'd called the cops on him, put his sister in danger, forced him to choose between me and his family. All because I couldn't stand the idea of someone else being in charge. I can't keep doing this. I whispered to my reflection. I couldn't keep fighting everyone, pushing away anyone who tried to help, treating every offer of protection like an attack on my autonomy. Marco was right. I had nothing to lose. No family, no close friends, no one who'd miss me if I disappeared. I'd been so busy being strong that I'd never let anyone in. I sat down, wrote a letter, not to Marco. Not yet. To myself, dear Scarlett, you're 26 years old, and you have nothing. Not because the world took it away, because you pushed it away first. You pushed away your friends when they offered help after your parents died. You pushed away every guy who tried to get close. You pushed away Marco when he was trying to save your life. You told yourself it was strength. It wasn't. It was fear. You were afraid of needing someone, afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of being hurt. But here's the truth. You can't go through life alone. You weren't meant to. No one is. Marco risked everything for you. He's in prison because he chose you over his own safety. And what did you do? You called the cops. You made the choice for him, just like you always do. Taking control because you can't stand to let someone else make decisions. This has to stop. You have to stop. I folded the letter, put it in my nightstand drawer. The first thing I'd ever written that was just for me. Not to help someone else. Not to fix a problem. Just to acknowledge that I was broken. And that was okay. I thought about Marco that night, about how he'd lived in fear for 21 years. How he'd survived by being paranoid, by trusting no one, by always having a backup plan. And then I'd walked into his life and demanded he trust me. No wonder he'd hesitated. No wonder he'd tried to give me up at the warehouse. Not because he didn't care, Because caring terrified him. I understood that now. Because it terrified me too. Morning of the visit, I stood outside Orleans Parish Prison. Concrete, barbed wire, guard towers. This was where Marco would spend the next 15 years. Unless I did something about it, I could walk away, go back to my life. The club, the empty apartment, the lonely existence I'd built. Or I could fight. Not for control this time. Not to prove I was strong. But for him. Because he deserved someone who'd fight for him the way he'd fought for me. I went inside. Chen had arranged the visit. Pulled strings. They led me through 3 security checkpoints. Metal detectors. Pat-downs. Questions. Finally a small room. Table bolted to the floor. 2 chairs. Cameras in every corner. Marco was already there. Orange jumpsuit. Hands cuffed. Thinner than I remembered. He looked up when I entered. His eyes widened. Scarlet. Hi. I sat down across from him. For 10 seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he said, "You shouldn't be here." "Probably not. I mean it. Enzo has people everywhere. Even in here. If they know you visited, you're a target. Let them come." "That's not—" "I know." I leaned forward. "I know what you're going to say. That it's too dangerous. That I should run. That I should forget about you and live my life." "Yes. Exactly that. I'm not going to." Marco closed his eyes. "Scarlet. Please. For once. Just listen." "No. You listen. For 21 years, you did what everyone told you. You followed orders. You survived. But you weren't living. And I'm not going to let you rot in here. When you saved my life. When you saved your sister's life. When you took down Enzo Romano. The DA doesn't see it that way. Then we make them see it that way." "How?" I smiled. "For the first time in 3 days. By giving them everything. Every piece of evidence you memorized. Every transaction. Every body. Every crime. We make you the star witness. Cooperate fully. Help them take down the entire organization." "I'm already cooperating." "Not fully. You're holding back. Protecting people. Your sister. Tony. Other guys who are just following orders. Stop protecting them. Tell everything. In exchange for immunity." Marco stared at me. "You want me to betray everyone? I want you to save yourself. For once. Not for your sister. Not for Enzo. For you. And if they say no, then we fight. In court. In the media. Everywhere. But we don't give up." He was quiet for a long time. "Then, why? Why what? Why are you doing this? I tried to give you to Enzo. I chose my sister over you. You made an impossible choice. And you still found a way to save us both. That's not betrayal. That's heroism." "I'm not a hero." "No. You're better. You're human." A guard knocked on the door. 2 minutes. Marco looked at me. Really looked. "I don't deserve this. This second chance. Neither do I. But we have it. So let's not waste it." "What if I can't do this?" "You can. Because this time, you're not alone." 2 weeks later, Marco's lawyer called me. The DA accepted the deal. Full cooperation in exchange for immunity. He walks in 6 months with time served. 6 months. Best we could do. He's giving them everything. Locations, names, bodies. The entire Enzo Romano operation. They're calling it the biggest RICO case in Louisiana history. I sat down hard. "Can I see him?" "He doesn't want visitors." "Why not?" "You'll have to ask him yourself." She hung up. I went anyway. Orleans Parish Prison. Same room. Same bolted table. Marco looked different. Better. He'd gained weight. The shadows under his eyes were lighter. He stood when I entered. "I told them no visitor. I don't take orders well. You should know that by now." Almost a smile. "Yeah, I'm learning that." We sat. For 30 seconds. Neither of us spoke. Then, "Why didn't you want to see me?" Marco looked down. "Because I'm ashamed." "Of what?" "Everything. 21 years of crimes. The things I did for Enzo. The people I hurt. The fact that I almost gave you to him to save myself. You didn't. Though. I tried. That's enough." "No. It's not. You found another way. You saved us both. That's what matters." "Is it?" He looked up. "Because from where I'm sitting, I destroyed your life. You lost your job. You're probably still in danger from Enzo's associates. You had to testify in court. All because I dragged you into my world. You didn't drag me. I jumped. Voluntarily. Eyes open. You jumped because you didn't know better. I jumped because someone needed help. I leaned forward, and I'd do it again. Knowing everything. I'd still send that text. I'd still help that woman. I'd still call Detective Chen. All of it. Why? Because it was the right thing to do, and because I met you. Marco closed his eyes. Scarlett. You can't. Can't what? Care about you? Too late. Already do. Can't wait for you? Already planning to. Can't see a future with you? I see it every day. He opened his eyes. I've been paranoid my entire life. 14 years old. Always watching my back. Always assuming the worst. Always preparing for betrayal. I know. And then, you walked into my life. This woman. Who called the cops on me. Who put herself in danger to help a stranger. Who visited me in prison when I told her not to. Who fought for me when I'd given up on myself. So I don't know how to do this. How to trust. How to let someone in. How to believe that maybe, just maybe, things can actually work out. I reached across the table. Took his hand. The guard shifted. Watched. Didn't stop us. You don't have to know, I said. You just have to try. And if I fail, then we fail together. That's how partnerships work. Marco stared at our joined hands. I don't deserve you. Good thing I'm not asking for permission. Marco, I need to tell you something. Okay. I've spent my whole life pushing people away. Being strong meant being alone. Needing no one. Relying on myself. And I was miserable. Scarlett, let me finish. When I met you, I saw someone who was just as lonely. Just as afraid. Just as convinced that strength meant isolation. And I thought, maybe I can help him. Maybe I can fix him. Maybe if I save him, I'll finally feel like I matter. You do matter. I know. That's what I learned. I matter whether I save you or not. Whether you need me or not. I'm valuable just because I exist. Not because of what I do for others. Marco squeezed my hand. So why are you here? If you don't need to save me, because I choose to be. Not because you're broken. Not because I'm trying to fix you. Because I want to walk this road with you. As equals. As partners. Even though it's going to be hard. Especially because it's going to be hard. The guard knocked. 2 minutes. Marco nodded. When I get out in 6 months, he said, I'm done with this life. No more criminals. No more violence. I'm starting over. New name. New city maybe. Clean slate. Where? Wherever you are. My breath caught. You don't have to. I want to. I want to wake up next to you. Cook breakfast together. Have a normal life. No guns. No fear. Just us. That sounds perfect. It won't be easy. Enzo has enemies who'll come for me. Associates who want revenge. We'll have to be careful. Vigilant. I can do vigilant. And I'll probably mess up. Get paranoid. Push you away when I'm scared. And I'll probably get stubborn. Fight you when I should listen. Try to control things I can't control. So we're both disasters. Perfect disasters. Marco smiled. Really smiled. For the first time since I'd met him. 6 months, he said. 6 months. Wait for me? Already counting down. The guard opened the door. Marco stood. I stood. Scarlett? Yeah? Thank you. For not giving up on me. Even when I gave up on myself. That's what partners do. I left the prison. Walked to my car in the parking lot. Sat behind the wheel and cried. Not sad tears. Relief. Hope. The understanding that, for the first time in my life, I wasn't alone. And I didn't have to be strong all the time. I could be vulnerable. Scared. Imperfect. And someone would still choose me. Not because I saved him, but because he chose to save himself. And wanted me beside him. When he did. 6 months. I could wait 6 months. I'd wait forever if I had to. 5 months and 23 days later, Marco walked out of Orleans Parish Prison at 6 a.m. I was waiting. He stopped when he saw me. Blinked. Like he couldn't believe I was real. You came. I said I would. He walked toward me. Slowly. Like he was afraid I'd disappear. When he reached me, he just stood there, looking at me, taking me in. You changed your hair. You noticed? I notice everything about you. I smiled. How does it feel? Being free? Terrifying. Good answer. He took my hand, squeezed. Enzo died last week. In prison. Heart attack. I heard. His organization is gone. Scattered. The DA said there's no threat anymore. No one coming after me. So you're really free? Yeah. He paused. What now? I pulled out 2 plane tickets. Now we leave. Fresh start. New city. New names, if you want. New life. Marco looked at the tickets. Where? Portland. I have a friend there. She owns a restaurant. Needs a manager. Decent pay. Quiet life. You planned all this? I had 6 months. I used them. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're amazing. I know. We got in my car. Drove to the airport. Didn't look back. On the plane, Marco held my hand the entire flight. I'm scared, he said quietly. Of what? That I'll mess this up. That I'll go back to old habits. That I'll push you away. You might. And I might get stubborn and try to control things. We're both disasters, remember? So what makes you think this will work? Because we both choose it. Every day. Not because we need each other. Because we want to. Marco leaned his head against mine. I love you, he whispered. I don't think I've ever said that to anyone. I love you too. And I'm not saving you. I'm choosing you. Best choice you ever made. Second best. First was texting the wrong number. He smiled. Kissed me. And for the first time in both our lives, we weren't running from something. We were running toward something. Together.